Hi, and welcome to the Ultimate Flying Guide. This guide will cover one-on-one Anansi vs Anansi setup, so no Tormentor here, as it sucks in dogfights. If you believe otherwise, you're welcome to prove me wrong. Let's get started. We will begin with setting up a config. Once you set up your controls, it's time for a little warm-up. Fly around the maps, see if you find the binds comfortable. You're free to use my config provided to you along with the movie. Notice how easy it is to just fly around using the jet's engine. Now it's time for some more advanced maneuvers. Fly closer to the ground and various obstacles. Get a feel for the aircraft. Don't be afraid to bump into stuff, it's the only way you can get better at dodging. And now for the additional flyers features. Decoys, these will be covered in part 3. Switching weapons, the Anansi has 2 weapons on board, the Law and the rockets. You will need a key to switch between them for easy access. This can prove useful, using the third-person view combined with the top hat command will grant you a full 360 view of the aircraft and its background. This can be crucial when you're stuck into something and need to know how you can get yourself out. Air brakes, they are a funny feature explained simply. They nullify any forward velocity. Before you ask what is forward, let me remind you that this is a controlled environment. Forward is devised using the horizontal 2D axis, X and Z. This means that height is not affected by the air brakes. They work almost instantly, from the maximum speed to a complete stop. Before we go on to the next part, one more thing. You might want to turn off the cockpit. Let me think. Yes, you definitely need to turn it off. Look at the enormous difference in the visual feedback you have. Let us continue with the next part. Here, I will cover general moving advice, advanced tricks, as well as a common mistake made by dogfighting beginners. We will start off with a simple exercise that shows very clearly how Quake Wars physics work. What I'm doing is a simple trick. Lower the Anansi's nose and using the yaw control buttons, turn left or right. And now, to spice it up a bit, I will put the aircraft in a 45-degree position and hold down the copter's rotors so that it will also move forward. I use the jet engine when aiming up to get altitude. If it does not make you dizzy, I screwed up my job here. A simple conclusion from this is you can't stall the aircraft, no matter what you do. Let's continue with some tips for you. Number 1. Whatever you plan to do it earlier. Flyers are like one giant ball of lag. If you plan to line up for a shot, you need to do it before you have it ready. If you plan to avoid an obstacle, you need to start turning earlier. This is especially obvious when it comes to dodging. If you start to maneuver after the missile has been fired at you, it is most likely already too late. In fact, I'm not really dodging. I'm not adjusting to a missile fired at me, I simply make the enemy miss by utilising a tight turn when they're about to fire their weapons. It's hard to say because you never know whether it is your doing that made the enemy miss, or they simply didn't manage to line up a proper shot. Number 2.
You flip the wings to one side to fake strafing and immediately change direction to go for the kill.
But don't listen to me here, make up your own tricks. You need to be unpredictable. Take a look at this nice example. Shiv's sudden usage of air brakes, tight turns, it all makes him very hard to hit. Not impossible though, yeah, you fag. And never fly in a straight line, it's a death sentence. Number 3.
Making a nice looking stunt is pointless when you die doing it. Or, which is more likely, hit something while doing it. In a case like this, you're screwed.
Number 4. This is an advice for close combat flyers. Keep them on their toes. As long as the enemy does not have time to line you up, you should be fairly safe and at the advantage. Number 5. Gain altitude whenever you can. Respectively, don't lose the higher ground easily. Take a look at this mistake. I've lost the whole advantage here for one risky stunt. It failed, and I had little chance to come back on top. Number 6. Keep aiming at the enemy. The Anansi is very slim. You present the smallest target when facing the enemy with your front, so don't show them your belly or side.
Part 3. Fighting each other.
In this part, I'll cover all the ways of killing your opponent. Since your main weapon 95% of the time will be the law, most of the following clips will cover that weapon. Let's get started. Law can fire in 2 modes, dumbfire and lock-on. As for now, I'm going to cover the dumbfire mode.
Law has unlimited range, speed of around 150 meters a second. It is not affected by gravity, nor the Anansi's movement. It flies straight, has no spread, and will kill enemy 90% of the time upon hit.
That shot was hacks. Its maximum effective range is limited to 300 meters though, as beyond that range any entity is invisible. This is the maximum range. The enemy is barely visible. I managed to hit him twice though with the rockets, and there is a trail of smoke coming out of the vehicle. The lure reloads in exactly 3 seconds. To make it more fun, is affected by the left-right pattern. Anansi's shots come out of its wings. Upon entering the vehicle, the first shot will always come out of the left wing, every time. The next lure shot will come out of the right wing. The same pattern applies to the rockets as well, but you need to understand they work independently of each other.
To make it easier to learn, I advise turning on the stats opacity. It helps a lot when leading shots in flyers.
Do notice how, in the following clips, the left-right lure pattern affects my leading and eventually a hit. Killing shit. It's hacks. Lure flies fast, but it's not a hit scan weapon. Thus, as well as taking into account the left-right, you need to compensate for the enemy's speed and distance as well.
Obviously, the further away the enemy is, the less important the left-right pattern becomes, and more important leading the shot well becomes.
That shot there was choreographed for your entertainment. Choreographed shot. Oh no, it was a draw. It was fine.
We all know it. You shot the guy, you hit him, and nothing happens. But before you go, I'll try to help you understand what exactly happens. No reg occurs because there is no anti-lag for vehicles. What you see, client side, is not what truly happens, server side, because of the latency. You see the past. In infantry, this is compensated for by anti-lag. With none for vehicles, client and server often disagree about what happened, and it's the server's opinion that counts. Take a look at this. Even my client agrees that I've been hit. Still, there's no damage since the server calculated a miss. The amount of no regs can go as high as up to 50 to 60% of all hits. The reason for screwed up replays from flying is the same. This isn't actually how it looked like in-game. Take a look at an awkward hit right there. Don't ask me why, but sometimes a hit deals 90% of the damage a law hit, and that is where the fun part comes in. You can gun them, you can ram them. Ram deals the same amount of damage to both flag, but the exploding remains can damage the winner. Minigun has a very short range and is vulnerable to lock-on. But if you get too close, you might also die. When the enemy is aiming at you, there is a chance they wait with an ambush lock-on ready. The minigun also can't shoot over 170 degrees. If you overthrow yourself, you can lose control. It is also very hard to use the minigun upside down. You can combine those tricks with some splash damage hits. You can also bump them so that they additionally hit the ground. If they are very close to the ground, a simple law should be enough. You can also use the rockets to wear them off. But I would not advise using them against a full HP player. Lock-on is harder to execute than a dumbfire, but enhances the hit probability. As soon as you start aiming at the enemy flyer, the lock-on process will start. Once it is finished, the red triangle tends to stick to the enemy flyer, even while performing more advanced movements. The maximum range is 200 meters. At this range, law takes 1.3 seconds to hit. Fortunately, there are decoys that, if used right, can save you. You need to understand that there is no randomness to decoys. When you launch them, 3 sets of 3 sparks each create a sphere that will confuse Law's tracking ability and hopefully save you. You need to make sure that those sparks intercept the Law. A perfect defense against a lock-on is a static hover. I could have decoyed those missiles indefinitely. A locked-on Law has a very restricted homing ability. You can help it a bit by leading the shot, just like in this example of leading with an Icarus and a rocket launcher. The left-right pattern also applies to homed laws. Ideally, you'd have the enemy coming from the opposite direction, coming from the left with a right-wing law. You don't need the decoys to successfully dodge a law. In theory, any locked-on Law can miss, like in this example, with 3 misses in a row. A Law that misses performs a circle runaround and can still hit someone. This results in such bizarre cases as this one. What happened? A no-reg means that in fact the missile missed. If it had not no-regged, it would have looked something like this. The ultimate way of conquering decoys is a double lock-on. Reload time for decoys is 6 seconds. The reload time for the Law is 3 seconds. Since you can lock on while reloading, after the first one you have 3 seconds for another Law, and it's a sure hit.
Three, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god, he actually shot his own lore with a rocket. Shiv is amazing. Thank you for watching this presentation, created by Zachalot. He spent a long time on this, and I think we should all agree that it's a wonderful video that requires many thanks. And a cookie, because dear God, this man can fly.
What a tremendous display of aerial combat skill by Zachalot, staying alive for so long. Staying alive for so long.